In the heart of a small African village where tradition meets the unexplained lies a tale of love, betrayal, and unthinkable ambition. A mother willing to sacrifice anything for wealth. A daughter cursed by her mother's greed, and a love strong enough to fight back. This is the Dark Covenant. If you love captivating African tales with unexpected twists, make sure to subscribe to Mr. Jambo. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. Now, let's dive into this gripping story. The Dark Covenant. The village of Kahara was a peaceful and simple place, nestled among the rolling hills of Africa. The air was always thick with the sounds of laughter and music, with the aroma of delicious food wafting through the air as neighbors gathered for communal meals. But beneath this vibrant life, a dark undercurrent of greed and ambition began to stir in the heart of one woman, Juma. Juma had suffered from poverty for most of her life, struggling to provide for herself and her only daughter, Asha. After the death of her husband, Juma became obsessed with the idea of wealth and status. Her dreams had always been to rise above her station, to sit at the table of the village's richest families, and to have the life that only the wealthiest could afford. However, she was bound by the limitations of her modest circumstances, and those limitations were a constant source of bitterness. Her daughter Asha was the one thing Juma truly loved. Asha had grown into a beautiful young woman, kind-hearted and strong-willed, yet she was naive and sheltered. Juma saw an opportunity in Asha's beauty and naivety, believing that if she could marry Asha off to a wealthy man, she would finally have the riches and lifestyle she craved. When Cato, a hard-working farmer who had recently come into some land, proposed to Asha, Juma saw this as her ticket to a better life. Cato was a good man, patient and loving, and he made Asha happy. However, Juma knew that it was not love that should guide this marriage, but greed. Cato and Asha's wedding day was filled with joy, but beneath the celebration, Juma was plotting. She had gone to the healer, a mysterious woman who lived deep in the woods, known for her knowledge of the occult and ancient rituals. Juma's desire for wealth outweighed any moral consideration. She wanted the power that came with riches, the security that her daughter's marriage would provide, but most of all, she wanted revenge on the life that had left her in poverty for so long. The healer, an old woman with sharp, piercing eyes, took Juma's hand and led her through a series of rituals that would forever change the course of their lives. "Blood is the price of power," the healer had said. "Your daughter's marriage must be consecrated by sacrifice, and that sacrifice will begin with the man she loves." Juma's heart darkened with every word spoken by the healer. She knew this was the beginning of her ascent to power, and she was willing to do whatever it took. The night before the wedding, Juma slipped into the woods to perform her first ritual. The earth swallowed her cries as she called upon the spirits of darkness, promising them her soul in exchange for wealth. It wasn't long before Cato's health began to decline. At first, it seemed like nothing more than a passing illness, a fever that would surely pass. But as days turned into weeks, Cato's condition worsened. His once strong body became frail, and the vibrant energy that had once defined him drained away. Asha tended to him with all her love and care, not knowing that her mother had orchestrated his downfall. She spent sleepless nights by his side, her heart breaking with every new symptom. As Cato's condition worsened, he grew increasingly paranoid. He had begun to feel the weight of the curses placed upon him, as though a dark shadow had cast itself over his life. One evening, as Asha sat by his bedside, he weakly grasped her hand and whispered, "Beware of your mother. She's not who she seems." Asha, frightened and confused, didn't understand the depth of Cato's warning, but her suspicions grew. Despite Juma's outward show of sympathy and concern, there was something about her that Asha could no longer ignore. Juma's eyes glinted with an unnatural coldness, and the way she would always stare at Cato as though measuring him unsettled her. When Cato finally succumbed to the mysterious illness, Juma didn't shed a tear. Instead, she smiled inwardly. The house they had lived in was filled with mourning, but Juma's mind was already calculating her next move. She now had the wealth she'd always wanted and the power she had craved for years. The villagers had no idea of the dark pact that had been made, and they saw Juma's sudden prosperity as a miracle. But it was only the beginning.